Hi everyone, it's Jason Pankratz again. Thank you for watching video 1 and welcome to video 2. In this video we will look at specific outcomes of the OIP and the process of learning about leadership. I will also discuss challenges that I faced during the process of the Doctorate of Education, what I would do differently, and what I have learned as a scholar practitioner. I was initially challenged by the process of the OIP and its incremental building of the problem of practice to researching leadership theories and then creating a final work. It was important to me to come up with a problem of practice that was a true gap in my organization. I wanted to study something that I was passionate about and in which I could legitimately be part of the change process. Video 1 explains the actionability of this POP and the reality of this OIP. Again, my interest in education and my passion for heritage, along with my personal involvement within my community, drove this project altogether. I am pleased to say that I believe I have formed a paper that is actionable and pragmatic. This is not a high-risk change plan. It is about recognizing where gaps in policy and practice exist and seeing real solutions to those problems. I am proud to say that I have a detailed plan for change. And I really like how an instructor stated that others could read my plan and see initiatives for community, heritage, and change for youth in rural communities. I had never thought about my work being considered or referenced by others. When it comes to the outcomes of the 3-year program, that's a different story. Personally, I'm up for anything. Almost. It was important for me to understand that Western's delivery of this program is a work in progress. This was said at the beginning of our journey and was evident throughout those years. When I was accepted into the program, I had no idea what to expect during the 3 years of study. All I could articulate was, what is it going to be like in 3 years from now when we're done? Well, now we're here. With each new course and syllabus, I feared what I read in terms of expectations and timelines, but ultimately had to reassure myself that it would occur naturally and that with hard work and perseverance, everything would be completed. One of the presentation questions was, to what extent did I get the outcome I wanted or expected? This got me thinking. Like I said, I'm open to learning. Throughout the process of this degree, I constantly sought feedback from instructors. I am always seeking ways to improve my writing, confirm my understanding, and ways to convey what I have learned. An interesting comment from one of my instructors was that she was impressed with how I took feedback, especially during a very challenging moment during my study. I feel as though truly this is the only way to learn. Being that my work and ideas are being read and critiqued by leaders in the field only develops my abilities. I love individual learning, but a 3-year online relationship with staff and classmates is challenging. Yes, I got the outcome I expected. I was mentored and guided through challenging readings, discussions, and the process of reading and writing. These were aided by both staff and classmates. I have always said that in education, you can be selfish. You can take what you want, learn as much as you can, improve and challenge yourself, and nothing can be taken away from you. I have not taken this degree lightly. My friends, family, and coworkers will attest to this. And this is the essence of my personal leadership. I learn a lot about my own leadership, my life, and my ability to study and live together. Interestingly, my other place of employment has been going through a lot of change over the last 3 years. I've been able to identify distinct aspects of challenges and successes of this plan. Its relationships with stakeholders, employees, as well as the structural, political, symbolic, and cultural factors of this organization. This has been invaluable. In particular, I have had the opportunity to analyze these factors through academic eyes as an employee, where previously I would have had a pure emotional response. I feel that this study has given me the background, confidence, and instruction to bring pragmatic and honest content to situations in my life that require or can be developed through proactive leadership. Another question is, What was my process? How often did I revisit my process? And what did I learn from revisiting the process? Though I was challenged by the process of the OIP at first, I have grown to appreciate this step-by-step way of learning and writing. Honestly, the best text of the 3 years was the use of Bowman and Deal. This text is relevant and realistic. It shows you how to see, foresee, and move towards change. After reading and using the text, and I would argue all of us, referenced it continually. This text helped me revisit my content by asking how structural, political, human resource, and symbolic natures of our organizations were affected by change, or could be. And it is realistic because those 4 factors are what make up all aspects of organizations and relationships within organizations. The OIP and the POP is not an isolating organizational challenge. It is an emotional and social challenge as well. I tend to gravitate towards these characteristics, which made me revisit my content over and over, finding a balance in writing about the organizational challenges and gains as well as those for leaders and participants. In the same way, I also learned to be objective and not let my emotions get too ingrained in my research and writing. Another instructor stated, I was stronger as a practitioner than scholar. At first my feelings were hurt by this, but then I understood, and I know myself. I am a boots on the ground kind of leader. I believe in planning and doing. I want to see evidence and results of change in action. And yes, this is emotional because change is inevitable, but it can also be strengthened by theory and past practices. Academically, one of the most powerful moments was finding and writing about change theory. I've used the change plan models of Lewin, 1951, and Lippitt, 1958. Yes, they are dated, and I have been challenged on this. But it is how they are intertwined that has me referencing them. Lewin's 3-stage model addresses change needed, making the change, and holding the organization in a new state. Lippitt understands that change is about the process, and it is much more complex. Using Lewin as a guide, Lippitt creates a 7-stage model that puts direct emphasis on addressing the need for change, the actions of the leader, the change leader, and recognizing that change does not stop once the change plan has been completed. This change model was chosen because this OIP focuses on the leadership role of the change leader and the relationships built through the plan. It is also evident that as a plan that deals with policy and practice through social and community interactions, variables will inevitably modify how the plan is delivered and continued. This change plan may end in terms of timeline and study, but the ongoing social nature of the practice will be a constant state of review. I like this use of theory because it creates a universality of theory that allows you to make your own applicable changes and modifications to suit the leader, the plan, the situation, and the organization. Theory can be wrapped around the context and explained to support the plan. And that is what these theories do. They are connected and discussed through Mitchell, 2013, to show the modern applications and analysis of these grand theories. I felt very comfortable with my problem of practice. As the course's research and writing progressed, I realized that the scope of my problem of practice could be expanded exponentially. It could discuss the reasons in which youth do not volunteer, how to attract youth to community organizations, and the challenges that rural towns face with funding and civic engagement. If I were to approach the same problem again, I could easily focus on the rural nature of community offerings and advocating for rural communities. An instructor identified that my OIP was very policy-driven, and I agree, but I have focused on the practice aspect because that is my nature. My leadership style is to mentor and guide change in participants to specific outcomes. This, as stated in video 1, was the reason for choosing the leader-member exchange theory. If I was more theory and policy driven, I could emphasize the challenges and gains of rural organizations. I may have found it challenging to find content connecting these issues with youth and community service. I was also challenged by my employment status. I am the only part-time employee who doesn't have a whole lot of say when it comes to challenging policy and practice at my organization. I was intently interested in proving that an educational coordinator be hired to tackle this problem of practice and OIP. The reality, as outlined in my paper, is that the hiring of an educational coordinator is a long-term goal. This is based on trends and understanding of current funding. Informally, I have lobbied and asked town councilors if this OIP could be adopted and initiated. Like the OIP, they see funding as the greatest challenge. If I were to approach this OIP to truly take it to the Museum Advisory Committee in the town, I would highlight the plan's focus on rural community youth and the opportunities that it could provide for civic and rural engagement and promotion. Our current mayor advocates for heritage and culture, as well as initiatives to get community members involved in the town. But still, funding would be a considerable barrier. I have learned that organizational leadership is ongoing. This was highlighted by Mitchell's analysis of Lewin and Lippitt. As stated, I also see it in both of my workplaces. This 3-year journey has cemented the fact that organizational change must be planned and delivered. I am a person who sees, weighs, and considers all aspects of an issue. This is also a curse. A change plan must consider and foresee and mitigate challenges that can cause disruption to both the plan and delivery. I like my OIP because it is not high risk. At its basis level, it can be implemented through the recruiting of youth. That is what we're looking for, increased numbers of youth volunteers at our museum. Either way, the organization can gain from this. I also like the fact that change does not end. Social relationships, education, and mentorship is about adapting to situations and not having static results. I have also approached my own personal leadership development through this journey by exploring and presenting decisions and options that reflect a logical approach to challenges rather than outright emotional responses. In the end, I have truly enjoyed this academic journey. It has opened my eyes to how organizations are formed, sustained, and deal with continual change. I appreciate the opportunity to develop my own personal leadership skills. I have gained a greater confidence to plan, see through, and analyze organizational change with a focus on working with others. As stated, I am focused on the experiences of others. I understand that I am a strong practitioner rather than scholar, and I'm okay with that. I'm excited to have the designation of Doctor of Education, as it will hopefully open doors for future leadership opportunities and experiences. Above all, I am pleased to have struggled and fulfilled the requirements of this degree. I love to challenge myself and at the end of the day, smile that I have accomplished another personal goal. That is, in itself, the essence of lifelong learners, as well as personal leadership. I wish you all the very best. Take care, with thanks. Jason Pankrat.